All right, good morning. Mike Strickler here at the National Weather Service in Raleigh. This is your routine Tuesday briefing since we didn't have one yesterday for Labor Day. Hope you all had a wonderful weekend, enjoyable and safe. It looks like we've got a relatively nice and quiet stretch of dry and cool weather upcoming for the next few days at least, and then some rain chances increasing as we get into Thursday and Friday. But we do have a Canadian high pressure stretching across the middle Atlantic, and that will continue to extend across central North Carolina and favor again below average temperatures and dry conditions through at least Thursday. There is a frontal zone just offshore lurking. That's one of the fronts that moved through our area. A pair of fronts actually moved through in the last couple of days. And those frontal zones have since stalled along the coast and continue to focus some moisture just offshore. But some of that moisture will likely expand westward, at least into the eastern part of the state by the time we get into Thursday and Friday. But most of central North Carolina, I think, is going to stay relatively dry. Any precipitation we get Thursday and Friday looks like it's going to be relatively light, not really any instability, even out toward the coast. So not any heavy rain upcoming with that. But then there will be another front that approaches with a very strong northern stream trough early this weekend, and rain chances will increase area-wide with the approach and passage of that front on Saturday. So it looks like that will be our best chance of showers. Not really a good chance of any storms with instability still lacking. Can't be ruled out, but certainly no severe weather with that. But that will be our best chance of rain on Saturday. And then another Canadian high follows that front and builds across the middle Atlantic with a return to dry conditions and continued cooler than average temperatures for North Carolina early to mid next week. So a pair of nice Canadian highs resulting in some early fall-like weather here for our weather here in central North Carolina. No severe thunderstorms are forecast. We are outlooked for general thunder on Thursday. That may be a little generous just with the relative lack of instability. Again, we might get some showers, especially over the eastern part of the state, but it doesn't look like much of a chance of any thunder, and certainly no severe weather for at least the next several days. This is a look at the forecast rainfall through the forecast period. Again, dry today and tomorrow with that Canadian high extending across the middle Atlantic. Thursday, you can see a little bit of green there painted over especially the eastern half of the state. Again, I think that's going to be pretty few and far between for most of central North Carolina. That likely continues into Saturday. That may be a little overdone with the extent of the green on the map there for Friday, but certainly a chance of rain. And then a better chance of rain with that next cold front on Saturday with the passage of that. So 5-day totals, not too bad, generally less than an inch to maybe just pushing an inch down toward the Sandhills and southern coastal plain. It will be welcome dryness after the heavy rain we experienced with the showers and storms over the weekend. Some areas received 4, even 5 inches and resulted in a little bit of flooding on the Neuse River at both Clayton and Smithfield. The stage at both of those gauges has since dropped below flood stage, so no river flooding, but we did have a pretty concentrated area of rain that did result in some flooding in spots, both with respect to urban and river flooding. No additional excessive rain in the forecast period with those relatively light amounts of generally less than an inch. And the tropics, while they are somewhat active, there are 3 tropical waves out there stretching from the Caribbean Sea all the way out into the far eastern Atlantic. None are forecast to develop appreciably, at least not over the next couple of days, just a low to medium chance of development. And at this time, none are forecast to impact central North Carolina. The one out in the Caribbean's forecast to move across the western Gulf of Mexico. Certainly no threat up in our neck of the woods. That middle system there with the yellow over the central tropical Atlantic, very low chance of development with that. Conditions are going to be increasingly unfavorable for that one. And then the only one that really may have a chance of impacting anyone in the United States well out in the forecast period is the one in the far eastern Atlantic. So we've got tons of time to watch that one. But even that one has only a medium chance of development. over the next 5 days, but certainly something to keep an eye on. And that's really the only one that may pose a threat sometime down the road for the United States. But again, very low probability and predictability with that. The latest drought update, of course, the earlier extreme drought over a big part of the state has been wiped away with the rain that we've experienced over the last 5-6 weeks. Although it had been getting dry again up until we had the showers and storms here over the weekend, at least in spots. So it was certainly some welcome rainfall in the last 72 hours or so. But the drought, for the most part, especially in central North Carolina, is a thing of the past for now. Looking ahead beyond the forecast for the upcoming week through next Monday, the 2-week outlook, or the 8 to 14 day outlook, is one of continued below normal temperatures, a little bit better than average chance of below normal temperatures, and above normal precipitation chances, with the focus for those above normal precipitation chances along the South Atlantic coast. So we'll be on the northern periphery of that moisture plume that's tending to lurk there just along and offshore the South Atlantic coast. Not really any hazards. This is the graphical weather outlook, graphical hazardous weather outlook, and really the only threat is lightning in the Thursday through Saturday period. And again, it looks like that thunder and lightning threat is overall pretty minimal. In summary, a pair of Canadian highs will result in below average temperatures, mostly dry conditions throughout the forecast period, with the exception of the couple or so days in between where we have very small chances of rain, especially over the eastern part of the state Thursday, Friday, and then area wide, maybe as early as Friday night, but particularly into the day Saturday. And again, cool and dry behind that. And no hazardous weather expected. That concludes this Tuesday weekly briefing. Thanks so much for joining us.